Let's go!
You have a message for returning Final Fantasy VII fans. I was one of those people who played the original game. I was wowed by FF7 when it first came out all those years ago and really enjoyed playing it. Now I'm in the position as director of the remake trilogy, and I'm very lucky to be in that position. I understand what fans are looking for from a fan perspective. All those important memories, what was valuable to them about that game, and what they really want to see again. I'm very much dedicated to bringing that to fans, making it as authentic and feel like Final Fantasy VII, while still also making a new experience at the same time. The whole development team really has that level of passion and excitement for remaking the game in that way. If you wanted to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, and you haven't had the chance, I would really be a great opportunity for you to pick up the Switch 2 version, confident that we can deliver all that satisfaction and what the old school fans are really looking for in that game. I'm confident and I'm proud of the passion of my team and what they put into it. And I think you're gonna have a really great experience with Final Fantasy VII all over again. I think it just sort of matches up where people are saying similar stuff and echoing similar stuff where they just haven't heard some of these interviews. There ain't no way they're gonna fit everything into part 3, right? Just ain't no way, brother. There's too much stuff, too many locations, there's too many plot points. There's no way that you're going to be able to do this shit. And yeah, I can understand, because it's like the first game had most things. I would say it had everything from Midgar with more. Part 2 had almost everything, but very specifically holds off on things like Wutai, Sid's backstory when you go to Rocket Town, like a few things. But they have echoed in other interviews several times that they know what people are expecting. Like there's a very clear and deliberate expectation of where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, which areas are involved. I mean, unless they're just straight lying, and they weren't necessarily lying in Rebirth, there was way more to that game than there was before. I think they're gonna hit every beat. I think we're still gonna go to, for example, what is the easiest place that you could cut? Bone Village. Bone Village could be cut. Nobody would remember except me and a handful of other people. Tank Ceratops is something that I legit think will come back in like a battle arena game or something like that. No kidding. Crazy genetically modified version of the big Triceratops monster that you fight in Gongaga. I think that'll actually come back and be some crazy robot thing. But I still think Bone Village is gonna be there. Hamaguchi remembers an interview he did about how they narrow the title for part 3 down to 2 names. So they're talking about like, is it gonna be called Requiem, Reunion, Returns? He says it was up to Nomura to decide which it is. And yes, after returning from Paris Games Week, he chose one. And he can say the title has been locked. All right, so it's happened. There's so many things it could be, dude. I am still all money in on Return. I think it'll be Return. If it's Return, I'll put in 100 gift subs. If it is Returns, 200 gift subs. Here's one that is gonna spark a conversation that I think we need to have. Look at this art and tell me what you feel. Queen's Blood was a very popular and beloved minigame. I believe that a lot of people are still waiting for something like that. He's right. I don't want Queen's Blood to go away. I want it expanded. He says he wants to expand on Queen's Blood so that they're enhancing it and giving it a more powered up version of it when you see it in the 3rd installment. Queen's Blood is still going to be available in the 3rd game, and we just want to expand it. Yeah, good. This proposes a question. In the original Final Fantasy VII, there are minigames. There's bullshit minigames. Things like the Mog House game, the basketball game, the boxing game, the Virtua Fighter game, the arm wrestling mini game, right? There's a whole bunch of really tiny games all over the place. This is OG FF7, the squatting mini game. Like, there's so many that I'm like forgetting some. What I'm trying to say is that there are just quick contextual mini games that just move you along in the story. And then there's others that are actually like little tiny things that you can continually play. And then there are critical minigames. The minigame itself is directly tied to a very specific, very important plot beat in the OG FF7. That minigame gets turned into an arcade game, essentially. It gets turned into like a moment that you get to relive and play different challenges and different high scores. What were the biggest ones in OG FF7? Chocobo racing, obviously. The bike minigame, clearly. The submarine. You could come back and it was not necessarily fun. It was probably the weakest one of all of them, but the submarine was the thing that you can go through and kill a bunch of subs and stuff like that. It was Hunt for Red October, but bad. Fort Condor was directly tied to story stuff. And then there's snowboarding. All of these mini games are directly tied to like story moments. And there was a shit ton of them in the old game. The most replayable of all of them was the bike, snowboarding, and chocobo racing. Personally speaking, those are the ones that I got the most enjoyability out of and wanted to revisit and do them again and find new routes and all that kind of stuff, you know? And the nice part is that in FF7 Remake, they really expanded on the bike shit. They're like, okay, so the bike stuff is very important. They don't make it into a mini game, but it's a really big part of it, and they turn it into an actual legit mini game in part 2. So it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think I want an expanded version of the battle chase bike mini game, dude. To be real, I don't think there was enough of that in FF7 Rebirth. I think there needs to be more of that. I want more of that shit to be in the arcade. You know what I mean? It's clear that snowboarding is going to be a big thing, and it's likely going to be as expanded as the bike minigame was in OG FF7, in FF7 Remake, right? Very high likelihood that this snowboarding minigame is going to be really important in the exact same way that Queen's Blood is. And let's talk about the rest of it right here. Hamaguchi stressed that the minigames will still be a big part of the 3rd installment. This includes doing justice to the original Final Fantasy VII snowboarding, which occurs right after the events in Rebirth. In the original, players set the guide Cloud down the Great Glacier in a downhill snowboarding minigame, where he must dodge snowmen and trees. And he says, snowboarding, this is something that fans have really had deep memories about. And we already knew this, chat. Like, the tease in... This is the tease image from Rebirth. This is in Rebirth. It's already teasing us that this is going to be a big thing in the arcade. I'm afraid I can't delve too much into details, but we understand that it's not going to be just a simple snowboarding minigame. We want to make sure that it's incorporated into the story to have some sort of connection with the theming of it. And I'll be real, that exists in the old one, but maybe not as good. Let's be honest. Aerith died 10 minutes ago. We steal a kid's snowboard and then start shredding the mountain. Like... It's definitely something. Very spontaneous and goofy. I think that's an answer to that. There's a joke in FF7 that like, oh, Aerith died and we're just gonna shred the mountain, bro. Let's go. High five. Like, yeah, it's always been goofy. Yeah, there's a very good likelihood that you're not gonna immediately go to Icicle Inn and all the areas that are around it and engage in the snowboarding minigame immediately. I think this sort of massages that aspect where there's gonna be some different parts. I don't think you're going immediately to that area and doing that shit. I think what he's talking about makes sense. You're gonna be doing this stuff, but it's going to happen a little bit later. I can see us going to Rocket Town and doing some other shit to upgrade the tiny Bronco to fly better before you do that. Snowboarding is a critical minigame to Final Fantasy VII. Chocobo Racing, which I thought was pretty great. I'll be honest, maybe not everybody liked the way Chocobo Racing felt or was, but I think you can actually make the controls even better. I don't think I liked having to hold the button down the whole way, especially if you had like force feedback. There was definitely some controller things that were like, I've played a lot of this, man. Oh, good call. Good call. The spaceship minigame in Rebirth acted as a replacer for the roller coaster. I just liked the roller coaster more and all of the secrets that are in the roller coaster. My hope is that the Space Ranger minigame doesn't necessarily need to come back. You can close down the Space Ranger minigame and you can bring back the roller coaster. I think there's a way that you can incorporate the pirate shooter and like an on-rails roller coaster style minigame that is all about discovering secrets and things like that as you progress forward, and it's all about like minor changes within. I'm hoping they do something like that. I don't think we need any more Moogles. I think the Moogle thing ran its course. I did all of them again just recently, and I'm like, yeah, the Moogle thing was okay for a little while, and then I was definitely good with it. Moogles can come back in some way. Let's do something different with them. Let's make them into a dating sim. A lot of mini games are way in depth. Like, they're really deep. Like, somebody thought about this shit a lot. Gears and Gambits is the perfect example of like, you can have a mini game that has too much depth. It's possible, dude. I think some of them need to be much closer to less than arcade depth. I think that should be like extremely basic mini games. You know what I mean? I think that's fine. For example, what's an extremely basic mini game in FF7 Rebirth? The frog jumping thing. I understand how this works and I understand its depth, and that's about it. You know, there's really not a ton to this. It is just the way it is. Darts from FF7 Remake. You know, I don't know if that needs to come back necessarily, but that's a good example of just a simple, this is just the way it is. Does anyone complain about darts? No, because it's just, it is what it is, dude. It's not really meant to engage you that hard. It's just kind of fun. If anything, all I'm saying is don't remove the complexity from the ones that are the most important. I want to replay those. They're fun. Not every single one needs to be that. You know what I mean? Let me go to Genki. That's all that Shinra Arc has. Shout out to Shinra Arc again for providing translation. Actual, and not bullshit news, chat. Not carrot on a string. These dudes are so anxious to start talking about it. In an interview with Polygon, Hamaguchi says that FF7 Remake Part 3 development is going very smoothly. He says it's playable, and they are now trying to polish it. The entire scenario of the game is playable. Just throwing it out there. This shit is coming out early next year, dude. In terms of third installment, I believe we are coming along very smooth. We have set a schedule schedule, and I believe we're on track and on time for the milestones. So I'm very thankful for the development team, and I have so much respect for them working on this project. I believe at this point, the game is playable, and technically, but we are still trying to polish everything so that it's at the quality we can deliver to our players. My dude, they might have a literal year of polish where it's all hands on deck, polish the game. Just from the perspective of some of the game projects that I have been a part of and know people that have worked on stuff, and the people that can educate me on this a bit more, that seems like quite a bit. To get your core game mechanics to actually have more than like 6 months of polish could be pretty rare. And in most situations, it could be even less, which is what a lot of games just have to deal with. 6 months feels like very good, but much less a year. They can be like a few months or even weeks. I know, that's what I'm saying, is that I think the average of just like, okay, our core systems and figure out our game is playable, everything is good. Usually you got like less than 6 months to actually polish shit, dude. This isn't just like re-rendering stuff, dude. Polish is that something is playable to completion. Getting art and assets online to match that and smoothing out gameplay things so there's like no bugs and funky things. Yeah, most games don't get that fucking luxury, man. The art stuff comes online usually really fast. Art honestly doesn't take that long. The thing that holds up art is that systems and mechanics and alpha versions, games aren't like solved yet. We don't know if we're going to spend all this money on art if we haven't done all this shit yet. And this might not even, we not even need the art for this if it doesn't work out. So since the game is so big in scope, they've solved those problems. They know exactly what the game is, what the game is doing, and now it's just making a shit ton of artwork for stuff, you know? This is still all very good news, and it's very big, and it just lines up with the theory process we have that 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, this game's coming out, dude. This game might be a late January release or like a late February. It legit might be.